Hey fellas, this is the first of probably multiple videos I'll make on Yokai Watch 4. I want to talk about the actual game itself and my thoughts on it, but for this one I just wanted to give a brief look over for the game's English fan translation. If you only clicked on this for the fan translation, all the shit is linked in the description. Yokai Watch 4 is the most recent entry in the Yokai Watch series, which I fucking love. This is my shit. 4 is the first one that was released off the 3DS. It was released in Japan and promised a localization in 2019, but there hasn't been anything on it 5 years later. So Western fans have just kinda had to wait. I played the game through in Japanese, but I couldn't fucking understand anything. All those fucking squiggly lines. I can't even really guess what's going on. So unsurprisingly, I didn't have that amazing an opinion of it. But a while ago I found out there was a fan translation project attempting to localize it themselves. Fairly recently it was upgraded from a work in progress to a full-on mod, so I decided to give it a try and make a video on my first thoughts. This only covers the first 2 chapters. Going in, I should probably mention that the translation mostly uses AI. Recently that seems to be somewhat of a trigger word. Just calm down. It's not like Google Translate shit. Everything is generally understandable. I was never really getting confused or wondering about what was being expressed. They used DeepL as well as some actual knowledge of Japanese to make sure there weren't any mistakes. And everything's expressed fairly well. I'm gonna go over the progress they're at right now. Obviously this isn't a critique or anything, it isn't done yet, so I'm just giving a general outline of what you can expect if you start playing now. I also want to bring any attention I can to this mod, so really I'm kind of like a hero if you think about it. Starting off from the first chapter, pretty much every element of the UI and menus are translated. The first untranslated part I noticed were these NPCs in the park. NPCs seem to be the mod's lowest priority and are generally only translated around important story events. This obviously isn't a big deal as NPCs aren't necessary for playing the game, only taking a little away from the game's charm. Going on, you battle this Hungrams and get this guide. The guide at the beginning showing you how to run was translated, but most of the ones after this aren't. The battles aren't particularly complex and are fairly intuitive, and other features in general can usually be felt out without the guide, especially if you've played any of the other games in the series before. Jump scare, ah! Okay, this is the intro. All the subtitles for this are done as well. There's some funny dialogue with Michi and the other guys here. You can definitely tell some of these parts are translated using an AI. They're a little stiff and some of the language being used is rather unnatural, though in general I never really didn't understand a joke or the emotion that's meant to be expressed. All the ideas were got across fairly effectively, which isn't easy, so you have to give these guys props. Okay, that concludes the game's first chapter. Everything with Navi Wolf and the Crankakai is handled great. Look, I got a dead cool. It's an S-rank yokai. Maybe he'll break the 4th wall at me. That would be so frickin' epic, I would spill my soylent all over myself. That being said, the yokai's befriending dialogue here is actually translated, so I have to give them props for that. We have to do some quests for the next part. All of the one required for the stories are done, and I believe most of the side quests in general are as well. I can imagine they probably prioritized important ones, and with the marker about 80%, I imagine any cool ones from your Japanese playthroughs are probably translated now. There's this weird ugly bike freak who I disregarded in the original, but now that I know his backstory, I fucking love him. He's called Charlie, just like a fucking normal ass name. He's so awesome. There's also this little plant cat thing, Pakun. He's the most fucking adorable thing ever. For the chapter's final boss, this weird mannequin guy shows off his true cell rage. There's a place called Mog Mog Burger. That's funny, right? Okay, what else? Lastly, I checked through all the menus. For the most part, all the equip descriptions are translated. Attack descriptions seem to be around 50-50, whilst ultimate descriptions aren't. Though if they're anything like in the past games, they're mostly superficial. All skill trees, attitudes, tribes, and stat stuff in general is done as well as the descriptions of all the items. As for the Yuki Wikipedia, all of the humans seem to have descriptions, but none of the yokais do. The hints for the Michi marks are also all done. These are basically random spots scattered around the map that you can get rewards for finding, so now you can actually aim to collect them all instead of just stumbling into them randomly. This is still an extremely brief look at everything this project has to offer, but as it stands, it seems to be pretty much entirely playable without use of game facts or guides or walkthroughs or any of that, which just on its own makes it a million times more playable. What these guys have here is genuinely incredible, and if you're a fan of the series, you should download Ryujinx and play it now. I have my gripes with 4, but this is easily the best way to experience it as an English speaker as of now. I had pretty much given up any hope of playing through and understanding this game properly, and didn't think there were enough dedicated Yokai Watch fans to make something of this scale happen. But I couldn't be happier to be wrong, and can't thank the devs enough for making it happen. Go download that shit on Game Banana now. Thanks for watching. Bye fellas.